Hello and welcome to Planet Hope, the magazine that follows the progress made towards the UN's Millennium Development Goals. Well, this week we're looking at sustainable development and how Brazil has turned a 60 million tonne mound of rubbish into a way of producing fuel that can heat homes and power cars. Jardim Gramacho was Rio de Janeiro's dumping ground for 34 years, as the capital didn't have a structure for processing its waste. Well, this led to more than 1,500 people, known as catadores, making a living from rifling through the glass, plastic, metal and books for things that they could then sell on. But the decomposing rubbish also leaked toxic waste into the sea and harmful gases into the air. So authorities have now closed the site and are building more than 200 wells to capture the carbon dioxide and methane and pipe it to an energy facility. But it's left the catadores out of work and worried about what they'll do next.
It's just before midnight in the suburbs of Rio de Janeiro, and the biggest rubbish tip in Latin America is receiving its final truckload of waste. 15 minutes later, more than 34 years after it opened, the gate closes for good on Jardim Gramacho. A defining moment for one of the most shameful blots on Brazil's environment, but also for the thousands who for years have recycled its waste, the catadores. Just a few days earlier, and the catadores are making their way to work aboard rubbish trucks, their bins at the ready.
Thanks to God, this day is one of struggle and victory.
We thank God we are healthy, we can work.
Slowly, the vehicles grind their way up the 60-meter mountain made entirely of rubbish. At the top, within sight of Rio's wealthy suburbs and the iconic Sugarloaf Mountain, the catadores go to work. Today, there are some 350 on site. Some days have seen as many as 1,700. From plastic to paper and aluminium, they collect anything which can be recycled. And at Gramacho, there's no shortage of work. After all, this has long been Rio's dustbin. 7,000 tons of waste dumped here every day. Geraldo, better known as Bicheiro, is no ordinary catador. He spent 22 of his 59 years rifling through Rio's rubbish. His most remarkable find, an envelope with $6,000 US inside. But times have changed.
Look, there's nothing but dirt, only dirt. This is the end, my brother. Only dirt, nothing else.
And the latest news isn't good. For more than a year, authorities have been planning to close the dump. Now they've set the date, a week from today.
I'm crying. I'm gonna miss it. But unfortunately, what can I do? I'm lucky, I'll get out. A lot of people have died here.
No one knows just how many people have died at Gramacho, but scavenging here has always been a risky way to make a living. A dangerous dance between man and machine. Maria has been a catador for 12 years. Like many, she's proud of her work and considers herself as something of a recycling specialist, of use to the community and to the environment.
We're not ashamed to work here. It's allowed us to earn an honest living, because everyone has to work. But closing the dump is leaving us with nothing. Finding another job is hard.
Strange though it may seem, everything here is meticulously organized. When a bin is full, the recyclable material is taken to another area to be stored. This is where Maria is leaving her day's harvest.
All this is mine. That and that is mine. If you fill a big bag, 2 big bags like that, it's okay. I'll earn 40 real, 20 per bag. Come on, let's go to work.
Maria is upbeat about her job. Catadores can earn as much as 2,000 real a month, the equivalent of 900 euros, 3 times the national minimum salary. Recyclable material is resold to intermediaries or cooperatives such as this one. At the foot of the dump is Jardim Gramacho's recycling centre. Here, plastic, paper and boxes are sorted by hand. It's the brainchild of this man, Tiao, the leader of Brazil's Catadores. He wants the closure of Gramacho to serve as an example for the rest of the country.
The end of the Gramacho dump marks the beginning of a new era, one of recycling, of selective collection, of better social and environmental awareness. Recycling will continue in Brazil, but this time in an organized way. People working this way isn't dignified or human. Only the people who work there know just how hard it is.
A hardship often compounded by the changing weather.
It looks like there are only pigs walking in the mud. When it rains, it's always like that.
Zuleika has worked at Gramacho for 30 years. At the age of 60, she often has to make do with the leftovers once the men have picked over the pile.
Calm down. Calm down. My God.
Indeed, many women prefer to collect plastic. It's lighter, more plentiful, though the returns are lower. Many are in denial over the dump's imminent closure.
25 years ago, an engineer said that one day this would end, but no one believed him. No one. I told him it would. They told me I was crazy. You say the dump will close? You're mad. I thought it would happen, I just didn't know when.
It's Jardim Gramacho's last day of operation. The Catadores are out in force. But in the shadow of an uncertain future, there's little enthusiasm.
What am I going to do? I'm going to carry on with my life and find something to do. I'm still young. I'll have to make a move now that the dump is closing.
Many feel abandoned by the government.
For us, this place represents many things. We depend on it. A lot of us have nothing else. It will be difficult to find a job. They could give us some possible leads, some advice at least.
Today, even Bicheiro is taking his time, but he's eager to show that there's still treasure in the trash. It's gas, methane, produced by the decomposing waste.
You can hear the money. See, that's treasure for Petrobras. That will help us get paid.
Properly harnessed, its sale to this processing plant could be used to compensate the Catadores. Compensation which will be crucial to avoid a backlash over the dump's closure.
It's the mayor of Rio who has decided to give financial support.
More than 1,600 people who've been living off the landfill are to receive payouts equal to 5,500 euros each.
We always thought that if the rubbish pickers were here in unsanitary conditions, working in the sun or in the rain, it was because they didn't have any opportunities beyond the rubbish tip. Life was worse outside the dump. That's why they came here to work.
Amid the refuse, a fast food stall is doing brisk business. On the last day, everyone has come to eat Donna Zefa's food. She's been here for 34 years, since the very beginning.
Unfortunately, we can't do anything. We're going to lose our work.
I'm sad, that's all.
When it comes to recycling, Brazil is still 20 years behind more developed countries. But the informal recycling of waste has offered many people a living.
I was here from the start. I saw how it all began. Now I have to leave. I'm sad. I've got tears in my eyes. It's my life, you know.
The next day, Gramacho briefly opens its gates to journalists. And those on the extreme margins of Brazilian society are for a moment thrust into the spotlight. By turning a symbol of neglect into a potential energy source, authorities in Rio have made an important gesture in the run-up to the UN Summit on Sustainable Development. But for Bicheiro, that's of little comfort. As he says goodbye to Jardim Gramacho, Bicheiro consigns his telephone and watch to the mountain of waste, a parting offering to a place that gave him not just his livelihood, but his very identity. His work here is finally done.
Well, that's it for this edition of Planet Hope. Thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed it. And do stay tuned. More news coming up on France 24.